Welcome to the Guts and Glory Show. You want to take your business to the next level. So you need to hear from someone who's done it all. Get ready to soak up all the useful information. The Guts and Glory Show. Now your host, Luis Scott.
All right. Welcome to the Guts and Glory Show. So glad you're here. My name is Luis. I'm your host. Really excited to talk about how to grow your brand. Because here's the thing. Fame is a great business strategy. This is something I heard from a mentor of mine recently, and that is fame is a great business strategy. Have you ever wondered why these celebrities can push products so easily? It's because they're famous. There's an inherent trust that comes with fame. There's an inherent trust that comes with being popular. If people know you, people assume that you are not shady, that you are not a scam artist. In fact, all you got to do is look at Mr. Wonderful. Mr. Wonderful right now has, in the most recent past, gone through the grinder as it relates to the authority that he put on that FTX. And if you're not familiar with FTX, it was a cryptocurrency platform that has collapsed. It went from $1 billion platform down to bankruptcy because of some shady dealings of the owner, creator, and the CEO and some other players. And Mr. Wonderful was one of the primary sponsors, or I guess promoters of it, of the product. And so he is getting shellacked right now about his involvement and his promotion of a product that ended up losing people millions and millions and billions of dollars. And so the reason that we put such a high regard on celebrities and fame is because there is an instantaneous feeling that we know them, that we can trust them, that they're likable, at least in the spectrum that they're in. Maybe not everywhere, but definitely wherever they reach their audience tends to follow them. I mean, you can think about any personality, whether it's the Kardashians or Gary Vee, who I love. But when I think about even the Kardashians, one of the younger daughters, I can't remember if it's Kylie or the other one, but they started that cosmetic line, and I guess the cosmetic line is now worth $1 billion. And here's the thing: she did not grow that business from $0 to $1 billion on her own accord. There's a lot of people who start cosmetic lines who can't sell anything, and it's not because she's beautiful or because she's a super savvy, smart business owner. It's because she is relying on this incredible brand that was created by the Kardashian family and has been passed out through the family, which kudos to them for making that happen. But the reality is that brand enhances your ability to sell. And fame is, in fact, a great business plan. So if you're out there and you're trying to figure out, how do I make more money? How do I grow my personal net worth? How do I grow my financial position? Just understand that fame and building your brand is the single greatest way to do that. It's not about the amount of money that you spend in marketing or ads. It's not about even necessarily the product or service that you create. It's creating at scale this sense of being likable, being known, being trustworthy. And if you do that, you're going to have a tremendous amount of success when it comes to the business world. And I've even learned this myself through different businesses that I've been involved in. I had a law firm or have a law firm, I should say. And the law firm has grown substantially in the last 5 years. 5 years ago, we had about 20-ish employees doing less than 8 figures in revenue. And 5 years later, we're going to do multiples of 8 figures in revenue with almost 200 employees. That knowledge, or I guess the awareness of that success has led to me being able to start the second business being 8-figure firm consulting. And 8-figure firm consulting has now used some of the leverageability of that brand to build 8-figure firm's brand. And now 3 years later, 8-figure firm has created its own brand, which is helping some of my employees and the consultants that work for 8-figure firm develop their own brand. And so there's a power in brand. And so if you want to grow your personal income, if you want to grow your personal net worth, there's a lot of things you have to do. You have to take action. Obviously, you have to I'm a big proponent of reading, and I'll do a podcast where I explain how reading actually propels you. But you have to read, you have to associate, you have to network, but you have to build your brand. And building your brand is actually very simple, but it could take a lot of sweat equity when you don't have a lot of money. And building your brand is requires you to know who your target audience is, know who your brand is, know what you're passionate about, and then share that brand with the people that you are trying to reach. And so I'm going to explain to you how you can do this, and using some of the examples that I have in my own personal life, and that is taking every single available source to promote yourself. Now, some people, they get squirmy about this. They cringe. They go, I don't want to be constantly bothering people. I don't want to annoy people. And what I always tell them is that the people that you're worried about annoying or bothering are not going to pay for your life. They're not going to pay for your family's life. They're not going to pay for your kids' shoes. They're not going to pay for their school. They're not going to pay for your dinners. They're not going to pay for any of these things. And so if you're worried about offending a few people, you're going to miss out on the masses of people that you can actually reach. And so I've just taken the approach that I'm going to tell as many people, I'm going to shout at the rooftops of the world. I'm going to tell as many possible people about who I am and what I do and what I can offer, because I believe that what I'm offering is helping people. And that's the mindset that you have to have. What I offer helps people. And therefore, because I'm helping people, more people need to know about what I'm doing. And so building your brand is critical. And I want to walk you through how you can do this and how you can set yourself apart from other people. So the first thing that you have to understand is, what is the brand that you want to have? Who do you want to be? Who do you want to be known as? What do you want to be known for? It sounds to me like this story about the person who said, if I had to write my own eulogy at the end of my life and what people were going to say about me, this is what I would want them to say. It's a similar thing. What is your brand? And I'll tell you a couple of things that I decided for myself. The first part of my brand was my personal vision statement. The vision statement was to lead a life of significance. I wanted to lead a life that transcended just me. I wanted to carry my impact into the lives of other people. I wanted to make sure that other people felt the love and the warmth that I wanted to provide to them. And so a big part of my brand is to lead a life of significance. Now, how does that translate into my everyday interactions with people? Well, the first thing is that because I want to lead a life of significance, being surrounded by people that I love and that I love working with is essential to leading a life of significance. So I spend a lot of time talking about this concept of love. What is love? I mean, there's so many things that we can say about love. It could be romantic, it could be platonic, it could be friendly, it could be friendship. The love for your kids, the love for your spouse, the love for your family members, extended, your nuclear family, the love for your acquaintances and colleagues. And so I wanted to lead a life of significance. And I knew that if I was going to be significant in other people's lives, I would have to love them, and I would have to lead a life of love. And so that became an overwhelming concept in my individualized brand. I say that word a lot. It's very, very unlikely that there's any business out there in the world that talks about the word love and loving your employees more than I do. Maybe there is, I don't know. But the reality for me was that was an essential part of my brand. So the first thing is figuring out what your personal vision statement is, and what are you going to stand for? What is your eulogy going to say at the end of your life? What is it that you want to be known for? What do you want to be known for doing? What do you want to be known for creating? What do you want to be known for in relationships? And there's several areas of your life that you have to be known for something. What do you want to be known for in relationships, both personally and professionally? And what do you want to create in the space personally and professionally? How do you want to be known as a spouse, whether you're husband or wife? How do you want to be known as a parent? Those are all the things that pertain to your brand. And so you want to make sure that you are identifying the kind of brand that you want to have. And for me, leading a life of significance, loving our people, showing grace when people make mistakes, really encouraging and building up people was a major part of my brand. And that is essential to the next step. And that is engaging in activities that help enhance who you want to be known for and what do you want to be known by. And so the way that this works is, if you want to be known as a person who's leading a life of significance, if you want to be known as someone who is enhancing the lives of others, you have to now take action to do those things. You have to take action to love people. You have to take action to enhance the lives of people. You have to take action in order to build people up. And so what I started doing is I started asking myself, how can I contribute to the world? What is the problem that I need to solve in this world that needs my attention? I heard on a podcast recently that says, just look around you and find the things that are in disrepair and figure out how you can step into the gap and repair it. And so when I started looking at what was in disrepair with the business world, what I realized is that we needed a perspective shift. We needed a paradigm shift when it came to working with employees. And that paradigm shift was that we were no longer going to be tyrants. We were no longer going to be totalitarians. We were no longer going to be the person just pushing our thumb down on people and producing. We were going to be people who genuinely cared and loved people. And when I say we, specifically me, I can only attest for myself, but I wanted to be that person that loved and cared for people. And so if I cared for people, what would I do? Well, I would build them up. I ask this question all the time to my leaders. If someone gave you a kidney, would you love them more or love them less? And the answer is, I would love them more. If somebody gave me their kidney, if I needed a kidney to survive and somebody gave me their kidney, I would love them more. And so short of giving your employees or your relationships your kidney, what is the thing that you can do for them that will build the affinity to you, that will make you a person who is significant in the lives of others? And I said, well, I need to impart my wisdom. I need to teach. I've read 300 books. I've gone to dozens and dozens of conferences. I've watched thousands of hours of videos on how to grow myself and my business. I need to impart that wisdom in other people. And so that's when I started doing what I would call the book club and leadership lunch and learn. I started hosting a book club every single month with those who wanted to. It was totally voluntary. In the very first book club, despite having over 100 employees, only had 5 people show up. And then after that, we eventually got it to about 20 something people. I ran that for a year and a half before I took a break from that. But I wanted to impart my wisdom into other people. The second thing I did was a leadership lunch and learn. For about a year and a half, I also did a leadership lunch and learn. It was a 2-hour lunch where I would share some nuggets of wisdom. And I committed myself to having lunch with people and building relationships. You know, they say the best way to build relationship is through breaking of bread. And there's no doubt, there's nothing better. There's nothing better. You could probably attest to this. There's absolutely nothing better than going and having an amazing dinner with friends and just laughing and chopping it up. Well, if I'm going to be significant, shouldn't I develop that kind of friendly relationship with my team? And I want you to, if you're listening to this and going, no, that's not the way I want to run my business, I'm totally fine with that. If that's not the life you want, that's okay. But we're talking about building a brand, and this was the brand that I built, and this is the way you have to think about it. And so once you know what your personal vision statement is and what do you want to create in the world and what do you want to do with your life, then you have to start taking the actions that help you build that type of brand. Because when your reputation spreads of your brand, your life will be completely transformed. You will become a different person. And so I moved from the book club to the lunch and learn. And then I said, how do I reach people at scale? How do I reach people outside of the business? Well, social media. And here's the thing, social media provides you a platform that never existed 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago. Prior to the conceptualization of Facebook and what we know as social media today, and a regular average Joe person could not just get on a microphone or record a video or take a picture and share it with thousands and thousands of people. I think the other day I was telling our social media team, and I do a lot of posting on my own, but I started posting on social media 2.5 years ago. And I've gotten more and more aggressive with my posting. So I went from like 1 every 2 or 3 days on every platform, and I'm up to about 4 or 5 times a day per platform. So we're talking about 20 posts a day. And 10 years ago, there's no way, there was no avenue or vehicle by which you could do that, where you could reach masses and masses and masses of people to distribute your brand. You had to rely on these big name TV shows or just get lucky or meet somebody. But today, that's not the case. You can develop your brand however you want to and tell a story however you want. You can tell whatever story you want. You can even lie. I saw recently, there was a guy who was like a TikTok millionaire, right? He showed how the lifestyles of the rich and famous. He was flying on private jets and driving these cars. He didn't know any of it. He didn't actually fly in the jet. He would just ask if he can take some pictures on it. He didn't actually own any of the cars. He would just ask if he could take pictures with the cars, and he would promote himself as rich. And because of his influence, he actually became rich. Well, I mean, talk about creating the life that you want. So social media has allowed you to reach masses. So again, personal vision statement. What do I want to be known for? And then what are the actions that I have to take? I started creating scalability. And so you want to create scalability in your brand, and you want to reach as many people as you can. So there was several pillars of my brand that I wanted to communicate on social media. The first one was that I was a great husband. I wanted to create this idea that I was a great husband. And so that was prong number one. And so that required a certain types of posting, right? Postings with my wife, postings at dinner, postings on a yacht, postings on vacation. I wanted to create this brand of me being a great husband. Number two, I wanted to create the brand of being a great father. So I posting with my kids, going to games, taking them to the park, eating pizza with them. I wanted people to think of my brand as someone who was committed to their family. Number three, that I was a great business person. So I would post things about my business, the size, the revenue, what success I had achieved, and where we were going, and the vision that I had for the business. And number four, I wanted to post that I had value to offer people. And so I wanted to create a bunch of short videos, and I created hundreds and hundreds of videos about the short value that I add to people. And here's the thing, for those of you guys who have very short horizons, this was a lesson that I learned from a mentor of mine, that many people have short horizons. They overestimate what they can accomplish in a year, underestimate what they can accomplish in 5 years. And for those of you guys in that park, I want you to know that when I started doing this 2.5 years ago, I was getting 5 or 6 likes per post, maybe a couple of comments. Today, 20 to 30 direct messages a day. And I get thousands and thousands. In fact, we've reached almost 40 to 45,000 views per day consistently. And that's not a lot. I get that there are people out there getting millions and millions of views just dancing on TikTok. Totally get that. But you have to start somewhere, and you have to develop your brand somewhere. And that's where I started. I started just giving and sharing information, and I started delivering on social media. And then I moved into podcasts and into writing. So when I think holistically about my brand, and I think about being a husband, and I think about being a father, I think about being a business owner, and I think about being an authority in business. And I asked myself, how do I deliver that brand of love and leadership and truly leading a life significance? I realized that I needed to reach as many platforms as I could. So I created my own podcast. I'm a guest on other people's podcasts. I've written ebooks. I've written hardcover books. I post on all social media platforms 5 times a day. And in addition to that, I'm constantly networking and meeting people in different places. And what has happened because of that is, not only did I take the initial brand of me building a law firm into the 8-figure firm, 8-figure firm will become an 8-figure business, $10 million in revenue here in the next 12 months. And so that's the power of the brand. And now the question is, where do you go from there? You can either keep building, or you can start something new. So when you're looking to develop your brand, first of all, understand that fame is a great business plan, and that the brand can carry you into all kinds of things. I don't even know the opportunities that are awaiting me right now, but I do know that I'm on the way to becoming the person that I want to be, which is eventually a speaker around the country and possibly around the world. So now you've picked your personal vision statement for yourself. You've identified what's the brand that you need to have. You've created a plan and a strategy to deliver that brand. And you've set your horizon far, right? Because that's the next step. Set your horizon far out. I think Gary Vee said the other day, you have to consistently post 5 to 20 times a day on every social media platform for 4 years. And I think it's true. I'm 2.5 years in, and I can't even imagine what's going to happen in 4 years. You can't imagine what's going to happen in 4 and 5 years. And I don't care how old you are. I saw this influencer recently, 55 years old, said that he started posting when he was 55 years, and he's now an influencer. It doesn't matter what age you are. It doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are, how middle-aged you are. It does not matter. What matters is that you get engaged in the work, that you get engaged to deliver your brand to as many people as you possibly can. Because when you deliver your brand to as many people as you possibly can, you will build the reputation of likability, trustability, knowability. I don't even know if that's a word, but knowability. And when you become known, people will respond to you in kind, and that will allow you to attract more people and make it easier for you to sell whatever product or service you're selling. And I'm finding this in 8-figure firm. More and more people are wanting to be a part of 8-figure firm because of the brand that we have created online. And once you've done that, you've identified the brand, you've identified how you're going to communicate it, you want to make sure that you have something to sell. Now, this is the tricky part because there's so many consultants and gurus out there who haven't accomplished anything, and that becomes very, very tricky. But whatever the product or service is, it needs to be well packaged and it needs to benefit other people. So when you have your brand clearly identified and what you're going to do with your brand and how you're going to develop your strategy, you want to make sure that you have a product or service to sell. If you are doing TikTok videos right now and you're getting millions of views on your TikTok videos and you have nothing to sell, you have no way to endorse a product or been endorsed by a product, you're not going to make any money. Yes, fame is a great business plan, but you want to have something that you are going to sell. And so once you have this entire recipe, this is the recipe for wealth, by the way. If you're listening to this right now, I'm asking you to take this challenge. In the next 5 years, post 5 to 20 times a day on all social media platforms, start a podcast, guest host, be a guest on podcast, deliver a clear vision for your life, create the right brand for your life. Do this for 5 years consistently, and you will watch your brand take you to a new level. And you could be an employee. This is how crazy this is. You can be an employee if you were to do this and you were to post 5 times a day on all social media platforms, delivering content, delivering value, delivering information that people want, that are too lazy to go get it on their own, having a product to sell or being endorsed by a product. You will watch your entire life be transformed. In fact, if I have a law firm that if one of my employees became a massive social media influencer and promoted our law firm, and because of that promotion, we reached clients, they would become wealthy themselves. The possibility is endless. Possibilities are limitless. There's just so many possibilities in today's environment. It is the absolute easiest way to become wealthy. And by wealth, I don't mean just financial wealth. I mean relational wealth, spiritual wealth, emotional wealth, physical wealth, financial wealth. They're the easiest way to become wealthy in the history of the world is right now. If you live in America, like I can't speak for other countries, but if you live in America, it's the easiest moment in our history to become wealthy because there's so many avenues for you to define your brand, deliver your brand, and eventually charge for that brand. Even if the content is just uplifting people and developing a better perspective and mindset for people. And so with that, I want to leave you with this. Do not underestimate the power of your brand. Do not underestimate the power that you have in creating a brand that reaches people and changes the life of people. But you have to start with your vision statement. You have to understand who you want to be known for and what you want to be known for. You have to be willing to put your brand out there in every avenue you can: email, social media, podcasting, online videos, pictures, whatever you have to do. And you have to having a horizon that is longer than 1 year. 4 to 5 years. And if you do this and you network and you read and you associate and you grow yourself and you add value to people, there is no way that you will not be just infinitely more successful than the peers that you hang around with that don't do these things. So I hope this was helpful. Thank you for joining us on the Guts and Glory Show.
For more and to learn more about Luis, hit the website at luisscottjr.com. For consulting opportunities, hit 8figurefirm.com. That's the number 8figurefirm.com. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review, and we'll see you next time on the Guts and Glory Show.